In Jewish neighborhoods across America and beyond, the most important features are deliberately invisible. Wires thinner than fishing line turn an entire city into a home. Lifts that stop on every floor without anyone pressing a button. Scrolls inside door frames and buildings whose balconies zigzag for a single week of the year. These are 15 things hidden in plain sight in every Jewish neighborhood. Once you see them, you will never walk down these streets the same way again. Now let us begin. Number 15. Walk into any supermarket, not a Jewish one. A Tesco, a Walmart. Pick up a bottle of Coca-Cola or a tin of Heinz beans. Look closely at the packaging near the barcode. You will find a tiny symbol, a small U inside a circle, or a K inside a star. These are kosher certification marks. The Orthodox Union, founded in 1923, certifies more products than any other agency on earth. Between the 4 largest agencies, over 80% of kosher food in America carries one of their stamps. The kosher food market in the United States surpassed $5 billion in 2024. Roughly 1 in 5 American consumers buys kosher products regularly. The vast majority of them are not Jewish. You have almost certainly eaten kosher food this week. You just never noticed the symbol on the tin. The marks on packaging are small. The next item on our list is fixed to the structure of the building itself, and there is a 3,000-year-old reason why. Number 14. Look at the right side of any door frame in a Jewish home. About 2/3 of the way up, you will find a small decorative case. This is a Mezuzah. Inside is a handwritten parchment inscribed with verses from the Torah. Jewish law commands that one be placed on every qualifying doorpost, not just the front entrance, but every room. Notice the angle. The case is not vertical, it tilts. This comes from a medieval disagreement between 2 great rabbis. One argued for a vertical placement, the other for horizontal. The compromise was a slant. The Hebrew letter on the front, Shin, stands for Guardian of the Doors of Israel. A 3,000-year-old declaration of identity, fixed to the doorframe of a suburban house in New Jersey. The Mezuzah tells you a Jewish family lives here, but the next sign on our list tells you what the neighborhood expects of everyone who enters. Number 13. At the entrance to many ultra-Orthodox areas, you will find Modesty signs. In Mea Shearim in Jerusalem, in Borough Park in Brooklyn, in Stamford Hill in London, posted notices ask visitors to cover their elbows and knees. These are not legal requirements. They are communal expectations. In Orthodox Judaism, the laws of Tiz'enayut govern modesty in both dress and behavior for men and women. Men in Haredi communities wear long trousers and long sleeves year-round. Women cover their hair after marriage. It is the neighborhood itself asking something of you before you have spoken to a single person who lives there. The signs tell you how to behave, but listen carefully and you will hear something else. The ambulances on these streets do not belong to any government. Number 12. A white vehicle with Hebrew lettering and emergency lights parked on a residential street in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. This is a Hatzalah ambulance. Founded in the late 1960s by a man named Herschel Weber, Hatzalah is a volunteer emergency medical service now operating with over 1,500 paramedics and emergency technicians across New York State. Their average response time is between 2 and 4 minutes, faster than most government services in the country. The network has expanded to communities in Israel, Australia, South Africa, and the United Kingdom. On September 11, 2001, a Hatzalah ambulance from the Lower East Side was the first to arrive at the World Trade Center. By the time the second plane struck, over 100 Hatzalah volunteers were already treating patients at the scene. An entire medical system built by a community, funded by that community, serving everyone. Step inside a synagogue in one of these neighborhoods and you will notice something about the architecture that most visitors never question. Number 11. Look at the front of an Orthodox synagogue. 2 doors, or one entrance that splits into 2 directions in the lobby. A staircase on one side leading upward. In Orthodox worship, men and women pray separately, divided by a physical partition called a Mezuzah. Many synagogues are designed from the ground up with separate entrances, separate staircases, and a raised gallery for women. This tradition reaches all the way back to the Second Temple in Jerusalem, 2 doors side by side. To the uninitiated, it looks like an error. It is the opposite. The building separates the men and the women. But the next item on our list is a place that does not look like a business at all. And yet it might be the most important room in the entire neighborhood. Number 10. A nondescript storefront on a side street in Lakewood, New Jersey. Fluorescent lighting. Folding tables. Bookshelves lining every wall. Men in dark suits and black hats sitting in pairs, bent over ancient texts. This is a Kollel, a center for full-time advanced study of the Talmud and rabbinic literature. In Lakewood, Kollels operate in former shops and converted basements. They look like nothing from outside. Inside, they are universities. Beth Midrash Gavoha, founded by Rabbi Aharon Kotler in the 1940s with a handful of students, grew to serve roughly 25,000 students across 74 institutions. The population of Lakewood itself doubled in 20 years. A storefront where the product is wisdom and the currency is time. Nothing is for sale. Everything is being given. The Kollel sustains the mind. The community sustains the body. And the next item proves that in these neighborhoods, no one goes hungry. It is forbidden. Number 9. Small metal collection boxes sit near the till in almost every shop. These are Tzedakah boxes. The word comes from the Hebrew for justice, not charity. Giving is a commandment, but it goes far beyond a box by the register. Organizations like Tom Chai Shabbos deliver food packages to families in need before every Sabbath and every Jewish holiday. Discreetly, often by unmarked van on a Thursday evening. In Kiryas Joel, New York, a Hasidic village of over 42,000 people, local organizations ensure that no household goes without a festive meal. The giving is not an afterthought here. It is infrastructure, woven into the weekly calendar like the days themselves. The charity feeds the family, but the next structure cleanses something far deeper. And most people walk straight past it without ever knowing what happens inside. Number 8. A modest building on a residential street. No flashy sign. Perhaps a small plaque near the door. This is a mikvah, a ritual bath used for spiritual purification. Jewish law considers it so essential that a community must build a mikvah before it builds a synagogue. If funds are insufficient, the community is permitted to sell Torah scrolls to finance its construction. The water must include a portion from a natural source, rainwater, a spring, or a river. Mikvahs are built in residential areas because women visit at night and need to feel safe and close to home. You could live next door to one for decades and never know what it is. A building ranked above a house of prayer, entirely invisible. Mikvah is hidden by design. The next item sits on every high street in these neighborhoods, and it changes what day the shops open. Number 7. On a Friday afternoon in Cedarhurst on Long Island, the shutters come down by 2 o'clock. Bakeries that were overflowing an hour before go dark. In the window of nearly every business, a sign indicates Saturday closure. These are Shomer Shabbos establishments. The Sabbath begins at sunset on Friday and ends at nightfall on Saturday. Jewish law prohibits work, buying, and selling. In the 5 towns, roughly 30,000 of the area's 50,000 residents are Jewish, and the entire commercial calendar bends to the religious one. Friday is the busiest trading day. Saturday is silent. The economy itself keeps the Sabbath. The shops close. The streets fall quiet. But the kitchens in these homes are anything but quiet. They contain something most British visitors would never expect. Number 6. Step inside a kitchen in Borough Park or Teaneck, New Jersey. 2 sinks, 2 sets of dishes, 2 ovens, sometimes 2 dishwashers, color-coded utensils, red for meat, blue for dairy. Kashrut, the Jewish dietary law, requires total separation of meat and dairy, not just in ingredients, but in cookware, preparation surfaces, sponges, and storage. This derives from a verse in the Torah, repeated 3 times, prohibiting the boiling of a kid in its mother's milk. The Talmud expanded this into a system governing every detail of food preparation. To the outside eye, it looks like an eccentric renovation. To the family that cooks here, it is 3,000 years of obedience built into a single room. 2 kitchens in 1 room. Remarkable. But the next item involves a machine most of us use every day, redesigned from the inside out. Number 5. Open a high-end oven made by Samsung, Bosch, or Whirlpool. Among the settings on the control panel, you will find one labeled Sabbath mode. When activated, it disables interior lights, alarms, and digital readouts. The oven holds a constant temperature, but it produces no visible response when the door is opened. This allows observant Jews to use the oven on Shabbat without triggering electrical activity. Star K, a kosher certification agency in Baltimore, is the only organization that certifies household technology for Sabbath use. They work directly with manufacturers. In some Jewish neighborhoods, even automated teller machines shut down from Friday evening to Saturday night. The engineers at Samsung built a setting into their ovens for a commandment given on Mount Sinai. That is the reach of this world. The oven keeps the Sabbath. The refrigerator keeps the Sabbath. But the next item takes that principle and applies it to something you would never imagine. A lift. Number 4. In a hotel lobby in Jerusalem or an apartment building in Brooklyn, a sign beside one of the elevators reads, Shabbat elevator. Step inside on a Saturday and the elevator moves on its own. It stops at every floor. The doors open and close. No one presses anything. Jewish law prohibits operating electrical equipment on the Sabbath. Pressing a button creates a circuit. So engineers designed elevators that cycle continuously, stopping at every floor automatically. In 2001, the Israeli Knesset passed a law requiring all buildings with more than one elevator to install Shabbat capability in at least one of them. This reshaped real estate demand across the country. Observant families prefer lower floors in case the Shabbat elevator breaks down. In high-rise buildings across Israel and New York, lower floor flats in Orthodox areas carry a measurable price premium for exactly this reason. If you did not know what you were looking at, you would think the machine was broken. The lift is engineered around a commandment, but the next item is not engineered at all. It is built from branches and cloth once a year, and it changes the shape of an entire building. Number 3. Look at a residential building in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Study the facade. The balconies do not line up. They zigzag. One juts to the left, the one above shifts right. The pattern repeats all the way up. This is not an architectural quirk. It is designed for Sukkot. During this week-long autumn festival, families build a temporary shelter called a sukkah on their balcony. They eat meals inside it. Some sleep there, but the roof must be open to the sky. If the balcony above blocks the view upward, the sukkah is not kosher. So developers in Hasidic neighborhoods stagger the balconies to guarantee every family has unobstructed sky. 52 weeks in a year, the entire building is designed for one of them. In Israel, a sukkah balcony can add 4 to 5% to the market value of a flat. Devotion written into concrete and steel. Balconies shaped by faith. Extraordinary. But the next item is the most difficult to believe. It is a wire, so thin you cannot see it. It surrounds entire cities. Number 2, stand beneath a utility pole in an Orthodox neighborhood. Look at the very top. Above the power lines, there is a thin wire running to the next pole. Often it is little more than fishing line. This is an ERUV, a symbolic boundary that transforms public space into a shared domestic area under Jewish law. On the Sabbath, observant Jews are prohibited from carrying anything in the public domain. No house keys, no books, no pushing a pram. The ERUV changes that. When the boundary is complete and unbroken, carrying is permitted within it. Over 200 cities around the world are partially encircled by an ERUV. The one in Washington, D.C. includes the White House. The one in Strasbourg includes the European Court of Human Rights. Manhattan's ERUV costs between $125,000 and $150,000 a year to maintain. Neither the president nor the European judges are likely aware they work inside one. It is the most invisible boundary on Earth. But knowing what an ERUV is only tells half the story. What happens when it breaks, who repairs it, and why mothers with young children depend on it. That is number one. Number 1. Every Thursday before dawn, a rabbi drives the perimeter of Manhattan. He checks the wire. Wind, falling branches, a truck reversing into a pole. Any of these can snap the line. There are usually a few breaks each week. When one is found, a construction crew is called. The rabbi climbs into a cherry picker with fishing line in hand and repairs the ERUV section by section. The work must be finished before sunset on Friday. If it is not, the ERUV is declared void. And when the ERUV goes down, everything changes. A mother with a newborn cannot push a pram to synagogue. A family cannot carry food to a neighbor for lunch. You cannot carry your own house keys in your pocket. Some authorities rule that you may not even lift your child in the street. Communities now run dedicated phone lines and social media accounts that broadcast the ERUV status every Friday morning. For many families, checking the ERUV has become as routine as checking the weather. Manhattan's annual maintenance alone runs over $100,000 a year, shared among Orthodox synagogues across the borough. A wire thinner than fishing line, strung between utility poles across an entire city, checked every single week before dawn by a rabbi in a cherry picker. If it snaps in a storm, a mother cannot carry her child to the park on Saturday morning. Over 200 cities on Earth are encircled by this wire. Most of the people who live inside them have no idea it exists. It is the most hidden thing in the world. And it has been there for 2,000 years. 15 things, all of them sitting in plain sight. Wires overhead, scrolls in door frames, ovens that know what day it is. An entire civilization layered on top of the modern world, visible only to those who know where to look. Now you know where to look.